Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It has been way too long since I've talked to you guys. This is my September and October wrap up and maybe a little bit of a life update. I haven't really had a conversation, which it's not really a conversation when it's just me talking, unless you reply in the comments. But yeah, just a little life update. We are still here in Colorado and life is so good. We are loving Colorado life, especially now. It's November 2nd and we had a beautiful fall, absolutely gorgeous. And we had our first snow last Sunday, which was so pretty. And yeah, it's so cold. I'm not sure, now that I've felt the cold, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that cold yet, but I'm very excited about the cozy season coming up. Yeah, I still have my job at the thrift store that supports our mission, and I'm the manager in the book department, and I love it so much. It's such a fun job, and I find way too many books, but yeah. This summer and fall have been absolutely insane, crazy, so much going on, so many fun things. We've had family and friends come, and we have family coming next week as well. We have the youth discipleship program that my parents are in charge of. The youth in that program have a program, or 3 programs coming up this weekend, and I'm a part of that as well. So many good things. With that being said, the last while, reading has not been a top priority. I definitely am still reading, still loving reading. It just hasn't happened as much as I would like. But today, I have 12 books to talk about. Where is that coming from? I'm not sure. I have 12 books to talk about, 8 for September and only 4 for October, which is kind of sad because October is my birthday month and I really wanted to just read a ton in October and read a ton of amazing books. And I enjoyed all of the books I read in October, but I don't think I gave any of them 5 stars. So there's that. But without further ado, let's get into it. Disclaimer, some of these I have not read since the beginning of September until now, obviously. And so my descriptions of the books may not be top notch, but we're gonna do the best that we can. And I think you'll be able to get my feelings on the book by how excited I get, because we know that I get really excited about books and coffee. This coffee is delicious, so I'm excited. All right, starting with September. Started off with a banger. The first book I read was The Love Note by Joanna Davidson Politano. 5 stars. The ending of this book, just it was incredible. And honestly, I'm not even remembering what all happened. I just know it was so good. So basically the main character, Willa, discovers a note in her old desk, in her desk that used to be at a place where she then takes on a nursing assignment. And she has connections with this family. It's kind of, I don't know if I want to say this. I don't know that it's a spoiler, but I would say it's friends to lovers trope, which it just hit, and it was so good. And tabbed it. This is actually my sister's book, but she let me go ahead and tab it, which was kind of fun. Once again, Joanna just blows me away, and the ending had me physically reacting. So highly recommend this book. 5 stars. So good. And then we had another 5-star, No Chance Meeting by J. Elliott. This book it was just so good. I don't even know how to explain it. It's contemporary Christian romance. The faith elements I loved so much. Like there was actually faith in it. Good faith content and coming to Christ or coming back to Christ, I guess. And the maturity of the characters, just like I was rooting for them so much because they were so mature, and there was no like big drama or anything. You know, usually in romance books you're like, they get together and then you're waiting for the conflict where they like have to resolve it. There was none of that in this, and it was so good and so refreshing. So it's about Alex Jennings, and she's going one night to take her life, and this isn't a spoiler, like it's it kind of alludes to that on the back of the book. But she walks into a bar and she meets the bartender and Riley Conrad, and they start a conversation, and he basically asks, he asked her to breakfast the next day, just, you know, to talk, and they form a friendship, which then turns into something more, obviously, and it was just good. And it was also set in Colorado in the fall time, mainly, I want to say, I think. And so I read this at the beginning of September, and it was like slowly beginning to have fall vibes here in Colorado, and so it was perfect. So I highly recommend this Christian contemporary romance. And then I read, what is this? Oh, I left my tabs in here. I didn't even realize it. I read The Winds of God by Gilbert Morris. Excuse the glare on the books and my glasses. I really wanted to film in front of my bookshelf, but now the sun is glaring through the windows, but whatever. By Gilbert Morris. This is book 2 in the Wakefield Dynasty, and I gave it 4.5 stars. Gilbert Morris's books are just so good, and I feel like so much happens, and it spans such a, like, usually his books span years, that once you're done reading it, you kind of just forget exactly what happened. But the reading process is just so good, and good faith content, and I love his characters. So it wasn't quite that 5-star feeling like that I keep coming back and thinking about it, but I still loved it and enjoyed it. And I think I read it in 2 days, which is kind of crazy. It's like over 350 pages, almost 400. So I highly recommend this series. This is book 2, like I said, and it's set in England during the time of like when like the church was really is Mary in this one? I can't remember exactly, but like the names of the kings and queens that were in power at the time, but like the conflict with the church and stuff, and so that makes the plot really interesting too. So I highly recommend Gilbert Morris and the series, and hopefully maybe I'll get to book 3 this month, who knows. And then it was time, you know, for just a good little palate cleanser, a fun little romance. So I read To Win Her Heart by Karen Whittemire. I gave this 4 stars. It's just so fun. Me and Carmen will talk about Karen Whittemire books and how like everyone kind of in this, I don't know, this feels like a whole genre in itself, like the old historical cheesy romance, and like it's all the same with obviously just different details, but you kind of know what's gonna happen every time, but they're just so fun and cute. And so this one was really fun because it is about Eden, who lives in a small town, but she has an in-house library. So like in her house, or at least connected to her house, I think, she has a library, and it was so fun like reading about it. And she would have story time with the children, and that's kind of how she like formed the relationship with Levi. Yes, Levi is a blacksmith, and his whole story is also so good and interesting. And yeah, it was a fun time. 4 stars. And then this one is so fun. I picked this up, I believe, Um, for Chantel Reads All Day, Chantel Reads All Day's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. And I don't even remember what the prompt was, but I know it like goes off of the month before, so August book, and I don't remember. But it was Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus, and I actually got this recommendation from Chantel, so thank you, Chantel. I rated this 4 stars. It was absolutely hilarious. I laughed so much at the main character, Avon. She doesn't have arms, and that whole aspect I feel like was done in a really fun way. Like, she was a go-getter, like she knew how to do stuff. She did not let the lack of her arms like keep her from doing normal things. And the way she would describe some of the things she did, like, it was just so funny. But she basically moves into a theme park in Arizona, and her parents kind of take it over. And I think there's a little bit of a mystery aspect. I don't remember everything, but it is interesting. And then like seeing the ending come together with some past history stuff, with her adoption and all, it was just so fun. And I'm looking forward to book 2. I don't have book 2, which what is it called? I don't remember what the title of book 2 is, but I'm excited, and I just think that it's so cute. Like, yeah, I highly recommend this for if you like middle grade, or if you have someone in your life who enjoys middle grade. And then I had a reread. I read Anne of Windy Willows by Ella Montgomery. 5 stars. Need I say more? This has a lot of letters from Anne to Gilbert, and I think that's just so fun. Such a fun little touch to this story. The characters, Ella Montgomery's characters are just unmatched, and they're hilarious, and I love Anne, and I will always love Anne, and I'll continue to read these books till the day that I die. So 5 stars once again. And then I picked up something very different, but I enjoyed it thoroughly, if you can call it enjoying this book. But that is Grief Observed by C.S. Lewis. Is this my first C.S. Lewis book that I've read? I think it might be, unless I'm completely blanking on a C.S. Lewis book that I've read. I don't know, but either way, it is super short. I feel like September and October, and you'll see in a bit, I began my journey with like a combination of C.S. Lewis, Oxford, and just that whole vibe, and you'll see why soon. But this is just a collection, almost like his journal, after his wife Joy passed away from cancer. And it's so interesting, and it shows him, it's very vulnerable. There were things in here that like definitely made me question, and I didn't agree with everything he said, but like it was written almost in the fact that like he didn't even know why he was saying these things, and he just wrote about his grief and what it felt like, describing grief. And it was just so fascinating and interesting. And then I feel like the last chapter, I enjoyed, because it kind of just like, it was almost like he reflected back on everything and there was like some hope in this. So I recommend this, a super interesting read, and I gave it 4 stars. So looking forward to reading more C.S. Lewis for sure. And then I think this is the favorite book of this entire wrap up. And I am going to venture out and say that this may be in the top 3, for sure top 5 of the entire year. And that is Surprised by Oxford by Carolyn Weber. If the tabs tell you anything, I don't even know where to start. I was thinking about how to talk about this book, and like you know, when you get so, here I am getting excited. When you get so excited, you don't even know how to describe something, and that's kind of how I feel. This book just, well, first of all, let me just explain what it is. Okay. So this is about Carolyn Weber, the author. It is a memoir. So it is her story about going to Oxford and finding faith, finding Christ. She started off not believing in God and just going to Oxford and meeting people, someone, TDH, if you know, you know, and starts having conversations with people and asking questions. And so Carolyn wrote the dialogue in this book so well, like the conversations that she had with people, like the way she wrote them in this book, just like, it was insane, and I absolutely loved it. And obviously I tabbed so many quotes that I was just like, oh my goodness, you are literally explaining things I felt and didn't know what I was feeling or expressing. And the atmosphere, like just the whole Oxford vibe. I need to go to Oxford. I want to someday. I officially must. Just like look at it. Like that's just a small part. But it's also her love story. The man who kind of like starts her on this journey, and you figure it out pretty soon, is her love interest, and shows their story, and I loved it. I loved the way she wrote about it. So much good stuff, and I could not get enough of it. I actually read a friend's copy, and I marked all the spots that I wanted to mark in my own copy, and it took me so long to tab this. Like, you don't even understand. Like, yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about that anymore, but I love this book with my whole heart, and I already want to reread it. And I recommend this to everybody. Everybody must read Surprised by Oxford, because honestly, it felt true, but it read like a novel almost, in the sense that it was just like the story. I was immersed in her story, and I was also like so challenged, and I just loved it. And TDH, if you know, you know. If you don't know, go read the book, and then you'll know. Wow. All right, and then moving into October, where I read 4 books. I started the first book in September, finished it in October. That is Where the Road Bends. No. What? No. Where the Blue Sky Begins by Katie Pauner. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was such an emotional story, but it also had like some funny, quirky elements, and faith elements that I loved. But it's about a man, Eric Larson, who has to move to a small town out in kind of like the middle of nowhere to run his uncle's financial company or something. And he's like a city dude who is not having it with these country bumpkins. And he meets his neighbor. This is not a romance. Just know that going into this. He's in his 20s, I want to say. And then he meets his neighbor lady who's 46, and she's dying of cancer. I think it was cancer. And she's dying, and she knows it. And she has a list of people that she wants to make peace with before she dies. And so it's actually really funny. So Eric, when he's driving into town, almost runs over her with she drives a little scooter, and he almost runs over her. And she like goes off into the ditch, breaks her scooter. So now she's like, I can't get around. So she tells him that he has to take her to all these places to talk to these people, or she's gonna like report him or tell his uncle or something. And it's just that whole story. It's very sad and heartbreaking, especially at the end. Just kind of that happens, but like the character, yeah, just like seeing Eric's character development, I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the writing. It was a very solid 4 stars, so I do recommend that one. Then I read The Italian Ballerina by Christy Cambron. I'm not gonna lie, last night I was trying to figure out what happened in this book, and I couldn't remember really very much. Honestly, yeah. I gave it 3.5 stars. No, I'm sorry, 3.75, because like I did enjoy it and it was interesting, but I don't know if I wasn't in the mood or if the writing didn't connect with me like I wanted it to. Like it was really interesting story, but I just couldn't, like, I wasn't obsessed with it. So it was a 3.75, and I don't remember what happens. Oh, yeah. See, I just remembered a completely different timeline that I forgot happened. Hi, Mitchell. So yeah, I don't even know if I can tell you what happens. I'm so sorry. Like, literally everything just went out the window of my brain. But it does involve, 2 soldiers, or are they medics? Like, protecting a young girl. And then that somehow connects to the present timeline. The present timeline was fun to read because it is like current day, but in Italy, or in Rome. So seeing those aspects was kind of fun, traveling around Rome and Italy. So yeah, sorry, the dog keeps interrupting. I didn't love this book, but if you enjoy historical fiction, I would actually still recommend it. And I honestly think that if I read this again, maybe at a time when I'm in more of the mood for this, I would like it more. So definitely open to that. And it was free. I found it's an ARC, and we are not allowed to sell ARCs at our thrift store. So it was kind of fun. Always love free books. All right, I have 2 more books to talk about. I read He Should Have Told the Bees by Amanda Cox. I gave this one 4 stars as well. I really enjoy Amanda Cox's writing. I read 2 other books by her, or I listened to one on audio, The Edge of Belonging. Really enjoyed. I think that's my favorite Amanda Cox, The Edge of Belonging. I read The Secret Keepers of Old Depot Grocery, and now He Should Have Told the Bees. I really enjoyed this. It is about a beekeeper. Her name is Beckett Walsh. I thought that was interesting. Never heard of the girl named Beckett. And that was kind of fun. And her father dies, and in his will, he names another girl who she has no idea who she is as, like, to inherit part of the farm. And there's so many other details, but it's kind of like their journey of figuring out why, because Callie is the other main character, and she has no idea how she's connected to this man. She knows she's seen him before, and they've had several interactions, but she doesn't know why he would give her part of the farm when Beckett has been there her whole life, pretty much. So yeah, I recommend this, and it was fun, and I love this cover. Like, it's such a unique cover. And she just announced the cover for her next book coming out in like August of 2024, which I'm excited about. It looks really cute, really fun. So I recommend this, and I will continue to read Amanda Cox's writing because it's just a good time. And the last book, the amount that I've thought about how to talk about this book, what to say, trying to even really digest and think about my real thoughts on it. Becoming Mrs. Lewis by Patty Callahan. Well, let's just talk about the tabs as well. this is the third book that I've read in the last 2 months that involved C.S. Lewis, Oxford, England, those vibes. And if I'm being completely honest, these 2 books reminded me a lot of each other. Obviously this one is fiction based on a true story, and this one is actually a true story. But the writing, I don't even know if the writing is the same, but it gave me the same feeling, and I loved it. Like, let me just tell you what it's about. So this is about C.S. Lewis's wife, becoming Mrs. Lewis. And I gave it, it was so hard to rate it. Like, and I'm still not sure. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. It's probably more like a 4, between 4 and 4.5. The feeling that it gave me, that's like the enjoyment level, was 5 stars. Like, it gave me that feeling. I think the reason, and it's so hard to rate this kind of book because there were so many things that the characters did that I didn't agree with, and things, I don't know, and it's hard because, like, it's based on a true story. With that being said, I don't know how much of the actual details that she put in here were fact or fiction. I didn't do like a ton of research, so I don't know. But so basically, C.S. Lewis's wife, Joy Davidman, she was Joy Davidman is like her maiden name, and then she became Joy Gresham. She was married to a man who had previously been married, and so it starts off in their marriage, and their marriage is not great. He becomes an alcoholic, and they also begin just searching for answers of faith and whatnot, and someone connects her to C.S. Lewis and is like, you should just write him a letter. So her and her husband, I think they together write a letter, or yeah, they send C.S. Lewis a letter, and he writes back like 6 months later, and it begins this correspondence between, mainly it's all Joy and C.S. Lewis, because her husband just kind of got to the point where he didn't care. And I guess you can tell by the way, like, knowing C.S. Lewis's story, he ends up marrying her. And she works for so long, she tries to make her marriage work. And she admits that she does love her husband. When like it seems impossible to, and she doesn't want divorce because she thinks that it's wrong. But so she gets sick. She goes to England to get better. She obviously connects with C.S. Lewis and his brother Warnie, and they form just such a deep friendship. Like they had such a deep friendship through letters before, but then it becomes even more so like when they're together. Right before she comes home, and I don't know if this is a spoiler necessarily, her husband tells her that they have to separate because he's in love with someone else and they want to be together. And then it just goes on from there. And so many things that I didn't agree with, and choices that they made that I didn't agree with. But that's just how it goes. If you can hear my siblings arguing, I'm very sorry. But overall, I loved the story, and the writing was so good. So many quotes that I underlined in here as well. So glad I read this, and I love this book, even if I don't agree with all of their choices, or their decisions. I still loved it and would still recommend it. Like I said, I don't know how true to the actual story and details this is. This is also an arc. I should maybe do some research and read biographies or something about this so I can get more of the story. But I did really love this book, and would recommend it if this story interests you. It definitely got me interested in C.S. Lewis and Oxford and that whole world, and like I just want to learn more, and I really want to go to Oxford. So if any of you want to go to Oxford with me, or if any of you live at Oxford, hit me up and I want to come because that just sounds so fun. But anyways, that was a lot of books to talk about. Let's see if I can hold it up. Overall, so many good books, some mediocre books. I had a great time with these books, and I'm so glad I finally got to talk about them. Thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully, maybe in the next coming months, weeks, I will be able to post more. No promises, because as much as I would love to dedicate so much time to YouTube and to this little dream of mine, it is not a priority in my life right now. And I'm learning to be okay with that and just putting it on the side, doing it when I can. So, you get what you get. Thank you for those who do watch my videos whenever I post them, and hopefully eventually one day, Lord willing, it can be more consistent, but I can't make promises now. Let me know what types of videos you would like to see. I definitely want to vlog more, like even just normal life. I've started several vlogs and never ended up finishing them. That's just how it goes. But anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you decide to pick up any of these books or if you've read any of them and what you thought of them, because that's one of my favorite things, is talking books with you guys and with people in general. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Bye.